Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to show you my approach to carbonating beer, step by step. You'll learn how I get my alt beer perfectly carbonated and ready to pour. I've got this alt beer that's been lagering for 3 months now, and it's ready to taste test. And if you haven't seen this series yet, make sure to check it out. I walk you through how I design a recipe, I grab the ingredients, I have a live brew day, and then I ferment the beer, and now we're finally at carbonating the beer. There's a couple different ways people carbonate their beer in a keg. One's a slower method where you can set it to 8 to 12 psi and let it sit for a couple weeks, and that slowly lets the CO2 dissolve into the beer. The way I do it is a little quicker. I do something called burst carbonation. That's where I set it to a little higher psi, generally around 30 to 35 psi. I give it a little shake and let it sit overnight at that pressure. And then the next day, I lower that pressure to about 8 to 12 psi. First, I hook up an auxiliary hose from my CO2 regulator and set it to about 30 psi. Once that's pressurized, I gently rock the keg back and forth for a few minutes. You can actually hear the regulator kick on the CO2 when the CO2 is absorbed into the beer. That's burst carbonation. That's forcing the CO2 into the beer at work. Next, I just take the auxiliary hose off the keg and place it into my Keezer. I then connect it to the regulator in the Keezer and have it set to be about 30 to 35 psi overnight. And if you're interested in building a Keezer, I've got a video that walks you through how I picked out a freezer and then converted it into a Keezer or a kegerator for my home brewery. And then the next day, I just lower the PSI to around 8 or 12 PSI. That's generally the pressure I use to serve my beer out of my Keezer. Now, every system in beer is a little different from carbonating. And for our alt beer, I'm setting it to 10 PSI. And I found that this is the perfect PSI for my system and this alt beer. And just like that, our alt beer is fully carbonated and ready to pour. Crisp, smooth, and perfectly conditioned. I'd love to hear from you. How do you carbonate your beer, and what PSI range do you use when you carbonate your beer and serve it out of your Keezer or keg? If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. And if you haven't seen this entire series, make sure to check out my recipe design, my ingredients run, my live brew day, how I fermented the beer, and now how I carbonate my beer. See you next time. Cheers.